Okay, I just picked up a new tool from Mac Tools. This is a parasitic drain tester. It's part number ET64970. I'll open this up and show you kind of what's going on here. You can see there's like a picture here of a guy hooking two leads into the voltmeter. He's got the negative cable off of the battery laying off to the side. And he's got one ground clamp going to the battery and then the other ground clamp going to the cable, so he can see what's trying to pass through that circuit when the vehicle's shut off and why it's draining the battery down. And then you could individually go start pulling fuses for modules, unconnecting things to see when your parasitic drain drops. You really shouldn't have more than like 0.3 amps. Some people say up to 0.5, but I think it's still too excessive. You get this pretty robust battery terminal cleaner for inside and outside. It comes apart in two different pieces. So you can clean inside the terminals and then you can clean on the top of the post itself. And it all just kind of snaps back together so you have a handle to clean the top of the batteries off. I'm going to open the package here and show you what's inside. So here is the setup. It's your meter leads. You have looks like an individual fuse in each side, so you get a fuse in one side, you get a fuse in the other side as well. So there's two, I think these are 10 amp fuses. So this is a 7.5 amp fuse and this over here is a 10 amp fuse. And then obviously one side you'll pull the ground off the battery, you'll hook one side to a post, you'll hook the other side to the clamp, and then these will go in your meter lead, and you'll basically watch your meter with this switched into the on position, and you will indeed monitor amp draw, parasitic draw, whenever the vehicle shut off. So if you have a battery that's going dead over a couple days and you're like, man, something's wrong here, I got to figure out what's drawing this down. So let's just say, for instance, 2010, 2011, 2012, let's just say 2010, 2011 Ford Escapes, you know, the old square body style. You see them going down the road and all of a sudden the windshield wiper's sitting right in the middle of the window. And you're like, why isn't that thing laying down one way or another? Well, a lot of corrosion gets built up back there in that pivot point, and it will eventually lock up in that position. It'll burn the motor out. And just because the motor's burned out doesn't mean there's not power still going back there to it. So I had a situation where I had to pull the negative lead off the battery. I had to hook one side to the negative post and one side to the negative clamp, and then I had to monitor amp draw and start unplugging things. And one of the old timers in the shop came by and he was like, hey, I noticed that windshield wiper sitting in the back of the window back there. Normally they don't stop in that position. So if you're having a battery draw, just from old timer kind of knowledge is power, been doing this a long time experience, go back there and grab that connector and unplug it from that motor. So I went back there, pulled the plastic cover off of it, and as soon as I touched that plastic cover, it was hot. And the actual switch for that rear wiper motor was off. It's like, well, if that's off and this is, it won't shut that circuit down until that wiper parks, even with the switch being off. It's trying to put it in a park position. So when I unplugged that connector, I went back up and I looked and I see, oh crap, I went from a 2.9 reading of my parasitic draw, not parasitic draw, but my amp draw, and well, parasitic drain as well. You can consider it both because the vehicle's off. You want to see where the drain is coming from. All of a sudden it dropped down to like 0.12. I was like, well, bingo, there it is. Eventually the lady came back. I put a new motor assembly and everything in it because those are notorious for that. But this is a prime tool. Easy, instead of like leaving meter leads that are falling out and then you're having to find all kinds of things to rig it up to keep it there. Clamp, turn your meter on, done. Easy, quick. So, little review. We will be using this again in the future. Again, it's from Mac Tools. Check them out. I know one of the distributors is here on the channel, so maybe he'll give a shout out or a comment on this video and give you a venue to buy this. But really like their stuff, really high quality stuff, and I'm going to continue using them.